It is dusk right now here at the Tonle Sap River in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and we are just about to cross over to the night market. We're going to explore the market and get some barbecue. This is Untethered Travel Live Streams. I'm Wesley Green.
And I'm Erica Baker.
I like that. Great. Yeah, we're going to go to the market tonight. And just a warning up front, this is going to be a heavy chat episode. The market is it's less about shopping and more about eating. We're going to grab some barbecue and sit on one of the little pads and chat. This is going to be a heavy chat episode because we want to talk about where we've been, where I've been, and where the show has been, and where we are going starting next week. And kind of just what's going on, because this occurred to me. This all happens so fast. Sometimes I can't even update Twitter fast enough to figure out, to get out there what's going on with this crazy situation. So having an episode where we actually explain what has and is happening, probably a good thing.
And it's a lot, but you're going to condense it into.
Yes, it's not going to be a detailed. I said I probably have to start from the time I left the U.S. So, but we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, I really want to show you what I am looking at because these were not running when I first got here. I've only been here 2 months, but they are. I think they're cool. These are just night cruises. Can you see these boats? Can you see them well enough?
Yeah.
These are not. We're going to walk a little along, but the one that's right here. This one doesn't look like it's going to be operating tonight, but you can see, if you can see it, there's a lot of tables on there. It's obviously a little dinner cruise. It's indoors on the lower level and an exposed upper level, and looks like it's a nice cruise. But that one doesn't look like it's running tonight. There are some. One on the river right there. That's not a dinner cruise. That's just a tour. They go up and down the river and show. I think if you go just a little bit up the river, you'll see some villages. You just have to get a bit past the city, and villages. I mean, that are on the river, like built out over the river. So that's pretty cool.
So is that tourists on that, or is that residents and tourists, or just anyone that wants to be on it? Basically,
tourists, but they could. I mean, they're probably mostly Cambodian tourists. Is my guess right now. I mean, they're too far away to see, but yeah, it's for tourists.
That one is neat looking. That long blue one compared to the other one. The other one looks almost like a casino, like a riverboat tour type thing, like a rolling on a river, like that. But this one is a little bit different.
The long blue one, are you talking about the one that's actually in motion down the river?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a barge.
Okay. I was like, okay, so this one's a whole different little battleship.
The one that's in the foreground here that's closest, that's kind of big, it looks like it could be a tour ship. It could be made into one, I should say, but it is not currently. It looks like it was a military vessel and it's just been parked here. But I can't tell for sure. Let's get on down there. I didn't actually plan to walk down there, but it's just stairs. So let's just walk down because since we're not going to get to do one. I had originally planned to do one, but like I said, they weren't running when I first got here. Just recently, free beer. All of these are. Oh no, we're just looking. We're just going to look at the boats. I think that's the right answer. That's the cheap answer.
I wonder what they have up there. What's going on? I'm just nosy.
You mean what's on the roof there? I guess they're getting ready to depart.
What the people are carrying right there, all that stuff.
Oh, it's the cooler.
I mean, they're really hitting the boat whole experience, I guess.
Yeah. I wonder if they rented one. There's actually a place in Yueyang, just to fast forward to the end of the combo here already. When I get to Yueyang, I've already found a place that rents small boats, smaller than these, but big enough to have co-workers on. I'm sure I can't do it the first month I get there, but I would like to take the the other teachers and workers out on a little cruise, and it looks like you can do dinner on it. So I'm going to try and find out about that when I get there.
Oh, that'll be so much
But that's a
fun.
fast forward. That's Yue Young, which will be hopefully within a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I like these. All right, let's go see that market.
Yes. It's still with all those people that were out there, it was still super quiet. I really like people
Oh, it really
shutting
is.
up. I love it.
I love your culture. I just love the way people shut the fuck up. It is quiet though. It's like really, it's very peaceful, serene here. Bangkok is going to be the opposite. I mean, Phnom Penh is a smallish city, so maybe not by American standards, but by Southeast Asia standards, it is. So I think it's at 2.2 million.
Oh yeah, so small. I love it.
Yeah, that's actually that would actually be I think our fourth largest city or third in the U.S. But there are actually, and this surprised me because I guess I just to be no, I'm just going over here. Yeah. Not you. Okay. You won't still be here. Okay, thank you. It's like maybe later you'll need a tuk-tuk, but not me.
Is that what he said?
Yes. I was like,
I
well,
love
no.
it.
You won't still be sitting here, hopefully.
It's like a video game NPC, like the non-playable character, and they just give you a little bit of side information that they just. That was really funny. Yeah, I just love
It was
randomness.
funny. I like that. All right. Well, this is the main stretch of the market, main what's thing aisle of the market. And I was on a track a minute ago. Oh, I had this I used to have this very stereotypical view of Southeast Asia. You know, rice fields and big beaches and temples in the mountains. And I was like, well, that's a sparsely populated area. But it turns out there are more people in Southeast Asia than there are in Europe.
Oh yeah, and also it's all the little stereotypical stuff is just little outliers over there. There's a lot of bustling city stuff going on, and all these
Oh yeah,
markets. I mean, they have a ton of markets. I mean, they have to. They have millions of people, and
right.
so this place has a little bit of everything, like the other markets that we've been to.
Hmm. Well, this place is much more just browsing. I mean, I'm sure people shop here, but
Like
it's the
textiles and stuff. It looks like it's like clothing mainly, or like items, but not foods. But there are
more.
foods, but not as much food, like a grocery thing, but more like
Oh, it's served food, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's right. And it's more like stuff you would I don't know leisurely shop for. It's because it's the night market, so it's after the sun goes down. When people are at the market in the day, it's just get in and get out as quickly as you can because it's so hot. Nobody wants to just hang around and have a good time shopping in the middle of the day. So once the sun goes down, that's the time to go out and actually start browsing and for stuff like clothes, like you just want to maybe stuff you don't want to rush your decision on.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, what's the
Jewelry.
temperature out there now?
Well, it said 33 when I came out, but it sure did not feel like it. 33 is fairly hot.
So it feels cooler than that?
Oh, it doesn't even feel like it's maybe high 20s.
Oh, good. But that makes it, if it's like high 20s, that's like low 80s.
Yeah. And I'm wearing warm-up pants because I don't have that many clothes I can wear. So I'm down to warm-up pants because I have to go wash again on Saturday. And that kind of leads us into I like these. I'm gonna get more of these. Why I'm traveling through Southeast Asia with almost no clothes and very little resources. But I guess that story starts 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
when I got a message. I was probably should preface by saying I was unemployed, unattached, romantically. I really had nothing holding me to the United States. And a friend of mine whom I had mentioned that I would just think it was so cool. It would be so cool to teach in China. He said, even when I said it, he was like, well, leave right now because you can get a job right now. And I was like, oh no, I'm already working somewhere. I wouldn't want to do that. And so he finally, later, I don't even know if he knew I was unemployed, but he sent me an email from a friend of his um, that was just some job in China, some school in China seeking a job. I mean, seeking a teacher. And yeah, took off.
I
I got
remember
this.
too, because you said, "Hey, I'm going to China," and I was like, "Whoa, wait, so what?" And it was just like, "Bam, I'm out."
It was quick. I mean, I was down to the end of my unemployment insurance. I had been on job interviews and had gotten several offers, but I didn't own a car in Salt Lake. And the offers were all coming from places that you have to drive to or that would take either 2.5 hours on the bus, and you can't work in the evenings. And so it'd be just like there was just nothing that was feasible because it's the U.S. It's the way the U.S. is set up. You have to drive everywhere. If you already have money, you can access more money, and if you don't, then you're kind of screwed.
Right. Oh, yeah. And you were in an area where you would absolutely have to drive because over here we don't have transit. We don't have mass transit unless you're
Mhm.
in somewhere in a larger, either out west or up north area. Basically, we don't have like regular transit in Georgia or I don't know how it was when you were in Utah or any of these places because I mean it still couldn't
Basically
be.
the same.
Yeah, I was about to say it's definitely not the level of getting around in New York. You know what I mean? Uh, Look at that, numbs! Yay!
Oh, that looks really good. So
No.
this is a possibility. Okay, so I will show you there.
Oh yeah, that looks
So
tasty.
it really does. Yeah, that looks good. All right, moving on. There's a whole thing though. I'll go show the whole market. The food on the other side isn't set up yet. We're here kind of early. All right, we'll still do a loop and then but I think we're going to come back to the first one. Is usually what happens. But yeah, I mean, it's, uh, well, maybe after dinner.
Oh, what was that? What were those things over? What's that?
Coconuts.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see. Oh yeah, nice. And then
Okay, so they have coconut ice cream and coconut jelly. The jelly is really good, actually. I might do that after lunch. I mean, after dinner. How much is the jelly? $2. Oh, okay. Cheaper for the ice cream. Right. Let's
oh,
get actual food on my belly first, and then
hmm
then I can make a better decision, which hopefully will be no, because I don't need to be eating ice cream.
ooh,
Good.
oh
I don't know what's going on with that broccoli.
man, they really got me with all this handheld stuff because oh, it would be so dangerous for me to be there. Look at all these things on a stick or all the things you can hold in your hand in general. Ooh wee.
Yeah, look at that.
What is
Those,
that? That
those,
looks good. Oh my gosh. I
those
mean, I would eat it. I don't even care what it is. It looks good.
It's deep fried. It's similar to wontons, except the wontons are lined up and pierced onto a, what do you call that? Stick.
A skewer. A
Skewer,
skewer.
that's the word I was looking for. But I can't tell what's in the wonton. It looks like it's just maybe fried onions or something. I guess I have to buy them to find out. Which doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world. I don't know what that is. I think it's just cartilage. That's big pieces of cartilage, so if it is. And the rest of them are just standard barbecue stuff. Balls and weenies and things like that.
Is that eggs over there on the end?
Yeah, some eggs.
Yeah.
Hard boiled, probably. Just as an add on to whatever you're eating. Let's see some juice, some sugarcane juice.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do one of that just so you can see it. Oh, I should have been pointing the camera down. I should have been pointing it up. Yeah, looks like a lot of the same stuff. Okay, so where did we leave off? Can't really.
Oh,
It's
you
very
decided
difficult to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that was. Oh, you were just heading to China in
Okay,
this
so
7 years ago. You like, just to wrap it back up about the first part. Unemployed. You're about to run out of your unemployment insurance. Weren't many prospects here for jobs, if any, and transportation and prospects were low. So you were like, you know what? I am going to go across the world.
that's right. And also, I mean, it was just something I always thought would be really cool, and I thought the opportunity, the part of my life where there was going to be an opportunity to do it had passed, and surprise, it hadn't. So I kind of went, well, you know, if I'm ever going to do it, I better get on it, because you know, I was 34, was I? No, I was older than that, 38. How old am I now? I can't
Yeah. Oh,
remember.
yeah. Because you're about to be 45 because I'm 45, and on the 29th you turn 45. So
Okay, right.
yeah.
That sounds believable. Let me take my earpiece out so I can order this. How many of these should I eat? I'm always wondering, like, how many makes me look like a pig?
Well, what is that? And like, is it
It
chicken? Is it
looks
pork?
like
Is it
beef.
beef?
Beef.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like beef and chicken. No, wait, it's just beef and beef fat.
Ooh,
The lighter ones are just the fat chunks.
I would get 2 of those, and then you're not overdoing it, but they look tasty. But then
Mhm.
also you could like get one of those other little snacky things that you saw across the way, and like a bite
Mhm.
of the coconut thing. But this is me being hungry, and it's breakfast time here, and I would
Oh, great.
totally destroy this food.
Oh, oops. I used my fingers to pick up the skewers, but I didn't touch the food.
Oh,
He was
good.
giving me a tong, so I didn't have to do that.
He's like, he's like,
Great, thank you. But I was so eager to get them. I was like, forget the tongs. I'm getting them right now. Oh, I guess I don't have to hold it. So, still pointing at him. I'll point out there so you can see. So off I went to China 7 years ago. Lived there for 5 years in a town called Chenzhou. Actually, a few places, but mostly Chenzhou. And really loved it. And was there when the pandemic started. And at the beginning, there in the beginning of the pandemic, I really wrestled with whether to stay or go. A lot of foreigners left. I know a couple of people who stayed, and I decided I was gonna. Yeah, thank you. I decided I was gonna split the difference and just come lay on a beach in Cambodia. And so that's what I did. And I guess by the time I left, I did leave Cambodia. I was migrating back towards China because there was a period where it looked like the pandemic was gonna, start declining. You know, it seemed like, at least in China. So in the beginning, the worry, or my worry, was mine are the two on the end. In the beginning, it looked like the main concern was, is China going to be able to get this under control? And when they started to, and numbers started to go down, I crossed the border into Vietnam, and I was headed up the coast, and I stopped in a beach town for a couple of weeks. It was basically biding time and just waiting for things to settle down in China. But as I'm in that beach town, that's when, I'm trying to remember what month it was. I think it was like March. That's when the numbers in the rest of the world, including the U.S., started to go nuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was really bizarre and crazy to be in this little town that was they were doing most cautious things, but they were not in a lockdown. They
Mm-hmm.
were just, everybody was wearing a mask and people were using sanitizer, and there were no tourists because travel had, pretty much stopped at that point. So it was this wonderful little beach town. I had the beach all to myself, and you know what I didn't do? I didn't pay any money.
Oh,
He's probably gonna want that.
he's probably gonna want that. Oh well, in March, like you're saying, they hadn't locked down there yet. It was just around. I think it was like in somewhere from the 20th to the 24th, maybe. That's when the World Health Organization declared it a pandemic.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Here. Oh, okay. It says I can have a seat on the mat. I don't want to get too far from them. I don't want to make them walk, but I also don't want to get close to people.
Right.
You know what? This might be the best spot because I can be in the corner, and even though they're right next to me. Okay, I'm going to turn the thing around now so we can.
That's me in the corner. That's me on my snack mat eating my beef stick. Do you like my song? It was lovely.
I'm sorry.
What is that? No.
This. Okay. Oh, they have some that are assigned to them, so I have to move over one.
Oh, I was like, wait, why is he trying to talk to you while you're eating? Okay.
Okay.
What is that right there?
Oh, talking about the napkins?
Oh, is that what that is? I can't tell you. I couldn't tell what it is.
I didn't have the screen on it. I was trying to switch it in the middle of all this. Yeah, napkins, and you can actually cook some things you buy and cook here at the table, and then there's the sanitizer over there.
Hey, nice. I like that little cooking pig. That's adorable.
Isn't it cute? All right. Oops. It's not the direction we want to go. All right, let me flip you around. This is the only thing that's really tedious about this software. Otherwise, it's really great. Ooh, that's a great background. I mean, it's real though.
Right.
Looks fake.
That's really pretty. Yeah.
It is. Nice.
Very clear too. That's kind of wow. That's nice. Good.
You know what you can't see, and I'm just realizing now the way I can't. For some reason, I cannot go full screen, and that's I don't like that. But we had to pay to get more time, and there we go. And we got some bennies, like the background and the little logo in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take the bag off. All right. So anyway, I'm trying not to drag this out. I knew I would because I love to talk.
Oh well, you're on the beach at this point.
Yeah, so I'm on the beach, and that's when everything went totally crazy. And it still at that point did not occur to me that China was, going to be the one that didn't have COVID and someone else is going to have it. And I'm looking at the rest of the world go crazy, and I just thought, about the U.S. I just thought, what is happening? And even as it was happening, it was hard to process that was being allowed to happen. Especially since the U.S. and other countries had so much warning, and China had none, and yet China, over the course of about 6 weeks, got it under control.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we had a couple of months warning, and saw the things go down. And even with the couple of weeks prior, when it was showing the horrible tragedies in like Italy, the U.S. is like, couldn't be me.
I bet that wouldn't happen here.
Right. No, they're like, oh, wait, no, we need to actually be prepared.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the COVID stuff.
No, the numbs. Yeah. What? So
yeah.
Is it beef and beef fat? Is that what it is?
Yep. Okay. And I picked the ones with some vegetables because I wanted to feel healthy, but also I just like cooked onions.
Right.
So I've got a few. Most of those sticks had no vegetables at all.
The background right now is insane because it literally looks like you have a screen behind you. You know what I'm talking about? The only
Like
time it
that
looks
has to be fake.
right, but then
Yeah.
there would just be a random person. You're like, oh wait, that's real.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at it on the screen. I'm like, how is it that pretty? That's crazy.
Hmm.
That's great. Good. So, um, so everything did go batshit crazy, and I'm sitting there, and I'm still not thinking that China's going to close their borders. But I did get a message from my at the employer at the time who said, "Yeah, I think you could come back into China now." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, I paid the hotel through Saturday." He messaged me on like Tuesday or something. I was like, I'll probably check out and just take the train straight on up. And I asked him to make sure that the border was the land border was open because there were still flights in at that time. And he's like, okay. And I mean, it just did not occur to me that what was about to happen was going to happen. And of course, it was like Wednesday night. A friend in China, I was asleep, sent me a text of a PDF or something that had been released that said, "Yeah, we're closing the borders." Well, I woke up Thursday morning. Um, I read it and I'm like, "Holy shit! Is there any way to get?" I guess I shouldn't have tried to get in because it was too late. But I was like, I'm spending every last dime I got to get back in the border, and I flew. I checked flights, and at that point couldn't find any, because obviously they probably alerted the airlines first. Um, but so there were no flights in, and I was like, well, if the border's still open, like he said, I remember he had told me at that point, but I was rushing that morning to get everything done, and I was like, okay, I gotta do everything I can to get there. There were no flights, but you could fly into Hanoi, and Hanoi is close enough to the border that you can take a cab. I mean, it's not a cheap cab ride, but you could take a cab to the border. As long as that border was open, I was going to cross it. Of course, it wasn't.
Hmm.
And then I was stuck in Hanoi. Sorry. I don't know if my crunching is getting into the audio, but this is, we're keeping it real here on One Tether.
Keeping it real. I can just hear
Real
people.
disgusting.
I just hear people talking, and
Oh,
then
really?
yeah, I mean, there might be. Of course, I might not even notice the chewing, and also I'm
Oh,
sitting here going, "Wow, I wish I had some num nums over here."
I wish you could have this. This is delicious. If you didn't notice, the power just went out.
Oh,
Which is not good for a place that's cooking food. Ah, there we go.
oh, there. The lighting from this place is just perfect with the sky like that. I swear, it's like the
Isn't it?
best background.
That's why I have tried in the past to do like sundown here and sundown there episodes because I feel like if nothing else, it can be some really really pretty scenery, but I don't feel like we've captured it until now. That was amazing. It's kind of
Right.
get darkening now, so it's not quite right, but
It's still super blue and pretty, though. I mean, that is really nice. I did like the rooftop bar sunset. Like, even though it was like not
mhm.
in the exact spot, it still looked nice. And also, anything looks better at night with like any kind of like string lights or like specialty lighting. So it's like, ooh, look
Mhm.
fancy and beer.
Yeah, it worked out great. I mean, I think this is going to be a great thing once we get just a little bit of funding, and of course, like I'm going to pay for travel once I get into China. But that's at the end of the story. So let's keep going. Um, yeah, shit, that's disgusting. Sorry, down on something. But I've got a cleany thing for my hand. Yeah, cleaning my hands off because I sat on someone's discarded gristle.
Someone's discarded gristle.
Anywho, so the shit went crazy, and I was left to pay for the cab ride back to Hanoi, and I actually booked a flight back to the U.S. Now, by the way, for anyone who says, well, maybe you should have had some savings, I had quite a bit of savings, or it seems like a lot now anyway. When I was going to the beach, because I knew it was going to be, I was guessing 6 weeks, and I was like, I can survive. I have enough, and if I don't, I kept enough in reserve to book a flight to the U.S. And so that's what I did at that point because it seemed like I was on the last leg, and so I booked that flight back to the U.S. And I had come to love China. I still do love China, and I want to go back there. But so I wasn't going back to the U.S. was not my first choice, but okay. I mean, it was a global emergency, and best to go back to the U.S. because obviously they're going to get it under control, and it's not going to be completely bonkers there. and, and so at least there'll be that, and I can just work a job until China opens back up. This was my thought. But the software, the booking company, app, website, whatever it was I was using, routed me through Tokyo into Narita and out of Haneda, which is normally fine. You can do that, and I'm not even sure that Americans need a visa when going through Japan, but it's a common connection. It's not a big deal, but you do have to leave the airport because Haneda and Narita are two different airports. So you're flying into one airport and then out of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you have to go out into the world. And Japan was on lockdown. So I got to the airport in Hanoi, and the first thing they said was, "You're not going to be able to make this connection." And at first I thought he was talking about time, and then he's like, "No, they won't let you out of the airport because Tokyo is on lockdown." I was like, "Oh, well, that's crazy." I still remember it too. It was so funny. The guy who was at the counter, I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And he's like, "Well, do you want to stay in Vietnam?" And I was like he was offering inviting or something. And I was like, I would love to stay in Vietnam, and it doesn't look like I have much choice. And so I left the airport, went into town, only to discover all of Vietnam in the time I had, been doing that little adventure. All of Vietnam had gone into a strict don't walk out the front door lockdown.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I remember lots of conversations with you inside your room. You were just stuck. You were in that room.
I spent 1 or 2 nights at a hotel that was outside the city center. I mean, I've come to get to know the city really well now, but I couldn't tell you where that was. I had no clue where I was at the time. I just booked the first thing I could find, the cheapest thing I could find. Got to it, checked in, and I think I was at the very tail end of my tourist visa at that time, so I had to go extend my visa. So that's why I say I think I spent 2 nights there because I couldn't go look for a place. So I called a bike and went into town, and I had picked some travel agent, and the first 15 we looked at weren't open. But he ended up just taking me to a row of tourist services, most of which were shut down. But there was one open. I didn't even know if you would really say it was open, but the owner happened to be sitting in the lobby, and she was sitting there with her feet up in her up on the couch, doodling on her phone. And I walked in, and I'm like, "Can I get a visa extension?" She's like, "Well, let me look your stuff." And she looked at the passport and my visa and all this stuff, and gave me a price. And I was like, I remember what it was. And it sounds so scamish, but she turned out to be the best of the best. She's still trying to get me back into Vietnam, although obviously that's kind of a moot point now, but there's no way to get into it. And also I'm trying to get into China, but anyway, but she's great. But so her deal was, I'll get you this visa for, I think it was $100. And I looked online, and all of the other companies were naming although they weren't open, so I guess what difference does it make what their price was? But they were listing $180. for the visa extension. And I was like, okay, great. And she said, but you have to stay at my hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, where's your hotel? And she said, right here in the historic district. And I said, sold. Because the historic district, you can walk everywhere. You don't have to call a bike.
Good.
I was like, that's fantastic. And the price was really cheap. I don't remember what it was now, but it was a pretty good price on the hotel. So I was like, yeah, that's two birds, one stone. And then I got to her hotel and met Terry. So it really all worked out.
And Terry was a wonderful, well, I mean, it's not like he's gone, but I mean,
Yeah,
he's not with
he's in
you
Hong
at this
Kong.
moment. But Terry was awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. He owned a school in Hanoi, which is to say he owned a money pit in Hanoi. I mean, now, because it's been closed for 2 years, he just opened the thing. Actually, when I got there, he hadn't opened. He was still renovating. He took me to see it, and he's like, the classroom's going to be here. And everything was still, being done in the building. So in that first year that I was in Hanoi, he opened up, and I worked for him a bit, and then all of the teachers at the school, not all of them, but most of the teachers at the school also run their own classes in their homes, like just cheaper classes they do themselves. And so every one of them, I mean, I think they're the biggest reason they work at a school like Terry's was to meet teachers and say, can you come by and do classes? Which works out great for everybody, honestly. So I worked for them and did a few classes for him, but I mean, it was just not a time of growth in that industry, because half the parents didn't want to send their kids to school because pandemic, and a lot of people just didn't have money to send their kids to school because the economy wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I was able to work in 2021 for most of the year. Yum, that's so good.
Are you gonna have the what do you call it? Like ice cream or any of the other stuff over there?
I don't really need that ice cream. It's good stuff. I mean,
I don't really.
I would have the jelly if you want to see what it is. You know what coconut jelly is?
No, I would love to see what it is. Oh my gosh, if I was with you there, so many people would have had so many. I would have so much unnecessary stuff, but it would be so happy for them anyway. It wouldn't matter. Like that lady scarves. Oh, I'd have them. Or that little girl. I would have bought that fish. I probably would have released it to the water there somehow or done something, but I would have bought that little girl's fish. You know what I mean? and
You're gonna throw her snapper in the river.
yeah.
I mean, I ended up giving her money, not a lot, but
good.
She came by several times. Finally, I was I don't remember what it was, but I was just like, you sold me this time. That was great. Oh, I remember what it was. She's like, can I have 500 real? And I was like, 500? I can't give you 500. She goes, how about 100? I was like, that's negotiating. There you go. I gave her some money. That was funny. I have no idea how much the thing I bought was. I feel like the juice would be better, honestly. I want something really cold. I want that. It's top tea right in front of us, and it looks like passion fruit juice. I'm going to show it to you and get your. Actually, I can switch it around now and just see it maybe. That's the ground. We don't want that. Oops, that's more of the ground. Oh no, they walked off with it. I was too slow. This is why I want that. I want a button that switches quickly. Quick switcher. All right, let's figure out. Let's figure out how to get up. I gotta say, I gotta find a way to get a. Things are falling off. A Bluetooth version of this whole setup that I've got, because this mic here works pretty well, but with the cord, it's always getting wrapped and tangled and whatnot. Okay, now let's go look at that. Now I wonder if I can sit down in front of this place. Well, actually, with a drink, I can probably just walk. I feel like I want to pay first because, I know my memory's not that good. Oh, they put out more stuff. You got to look at this. 10,000. Oh, all right. Oh, because we didn't get that much. You were conservative. You're like, get 2 of them. I'm like, really? Are you sure 10 is not the right answer? $1. So those were $1.50 each.
Oh, okay.
That was a lot of meat for 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oops, that was not what was supposed to happen. I really want to figure out how to get a setup where I can pull out money and do things and not drop the camera every time.
Right. Like, well, what I was talking about, like, would a GoPro work?
Those are all toppings for your drink.
Ooh.
I'm going to do the passion fruit. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Sorry, what did you say? You made a suggestion?
Oh, yeah, a GoPro or something like that.
Oh, so I couldn't get over to him. The guy had one a minute ago. It's called a Digi. For me, it would be better than a GoPro.
Digi. What is it? What does it do?
It's like a handle, and then there's a tiny camera at the top that's on a gimbal by itself, and that's it. It's just the camera's on top of the handle. So it's basically you're just carrying a handle around. You don't put the phone in. Now, if I could get that to hook to the phone, like to be a Bluetooth camera for the phone, that would be amazing. But I don't know if I can do it yet. Also, some other concerns, so I haven't really looked into it. But after we get to China, I think that may be something I can do. I'll try to do that. Just looks a lot easier to carry it around. Actually, it's called the Digi Osmo. If you want to look at it online, if you're online right now. I don't know if you're online right now. I said. Oh shit! I almost fell over. All right. Well, while I wait on my drink here, let's go back to the story.
Okay.
Or what the hell was I saying?
Oh, you were okay. So Hanoi, and Terry, and you were there, but then his school was going to be shut down. Obviously, no schools were going to be open. A lot of businesses were closed anyway because it was anything that had to do with gathering. It was a no go, and so
right.
But you were still in Hanoi at this point, and kind people were doing kind things, and you were planning your next move, but not knowing exactly what was going to be happening because the world was in disarray.
Right. Yeah. That is a terrific summary. I wasn't actually at that point trying to get back into China. I just didn't know what to do because everything was crazy. And for the time between that initial lockdown, which lasted, I think, 13 days or 16 days or something, which seems like such a short time now, but it was terrifying then because it all just started. And you literally, the streets were empty, like all day and all night for 2 weeks. But because of all that, because they did that, Vietnam was COVID free, like 100% for about a year. It was about March of the next year, or maybe it was May. No, I think it started in March of the next year that they started getting a few cases.
Mm-hmm.
And by May, we had gone into not a lockdown, but just like schools had closed, and schools had closed, and what else? You could pretty much do everything else in the beginning. So it was in phases. It started out with schools closing, but you could still go to restaurants and still, go to coffee shops and stuff like that. And slowly but surely, between May and sometime in June, so over the course of a month, everything locked down, and we went into a serious, real, no joke lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when the shit really started, because I couldn't work, and so for months I couldn't work. And I mean, schools have still not reopened in Hanoi, I should say. Some parts of Vietnam they have, but not Hanoi. So I couldn't work, and I couldn't go anywhere, and I didn't know what to do. And the whole time it seemed like everything was, going to open up next week or maybe in 2 weeks, and things would go back to normal. And it continued like that the rest of the year. And then in January, the Vietnamese government just said, well, we're ending the program that allowed foreigners to stay here without extending their visa. And so, you got to go.
And that was abrupt, because
it was abrupt.
It's not like it was in all the papers and there were like some type of warning on some kind of billboards, and there was some kind of things that were mailed to you. It literally, you just heard from something else and then saw it somewhere, maybe because you were looking for it, and then you.
Yeah, I was really looking for it, and it appeared in the news on Monday. So even if you count from Monday, the warning was about that Saturday. So on Monday, the news said, on Saturday, this stuff's over and you got to be out. You got to be out, not you. That's when you got to start trying to get out. But you got to be out of the country by Saturday. And I hope they didn't do a slushy version. I ordered a juice, not a slush. Anyway, yeah, so it was very abrupt, and I didn't see the thing until Wednesday. Not really anybody in charge around here. I didn't see it until Wednesday, and so that's like 3 days notice to get out. And I was like, and even after I saw it on Wednesday, I would go do searches, because obviously I'm freaking out, to look for it and not find it, like Google searches. Like sometimes I could stumble across it, and sometimes not. I wonder if that is mine. Is that mine?
The passion fruit?
Yeah, it's passion fruit, but I wanted the juice, not a. Okay. Oh, I pay you? $1.
Oh my god. Oh, really good.
All right, I gotta try it.
Yo, chop, it's really nice, man. Really
That's
nice.
good.
Okay, that means mine should be nicer.
What are you getting?
I'm getting the sour shop.
Oh, okay.
The sour shop is really nice.
Sour shop.
It's a nice taste.
Okay.
Ever drink that?
No, I'm looking for
And this
it.
one.
Oh, I have to try that.
The leaves of these are really good against cancer.
Really?
Yeah.
Antioxidants?
So random. The sour shop leaf they use for cancer patients.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Just like Mama.
Enjoy. They were nice.
Okay, so that was she said she was having sour sop. Is that what she was saying?
Sour stop. Yes, that was it.
Yeah, sour sop. So that's a they call it a custard apple or something like that. I remember that because
Really?
it's one of those things where I looked through all these food books when I was younger, and it was like stuff from the 70s and like early 80s, like 77 to 81. And they just had all these different pictures of like a soursop, or they also had a kumquat and all these things in a quince or whatever. And I was like, I want all of these things. And I still have yet to have any of those. I probably should go to the market and get those. But so they have a soursop drink there. Is that what that
Yep.
is?
It's a shake. Well, that's why I didn't know it was mine, because they made a smoothie, and I was like, no, I wanted the juice.
And then she's like, no, this is yours. But you're like, okay, this is tasty, so it's okay.
It is tasty. It's very sweet, but it's good. And honestly, the ice is exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking mask off, so I'm trying to stay distant from everybody,
Right.
not wander into the crowded places. Anyway, all right. Well, where are we on our story?
Oh, you okay, about Vietnam, you had found out that you had to get out of there. You only had a few days to get out, and it was an abrupt decision on behalf of the government, and there really wasn't much information available anywhere. Whoa.
Sorry about that. I walked directly in front of the speaker, and I didn't mean to.
Oh my God! Bring it down. Let's dance. No, seriously.
I have a stage, but there's no way performing it. Just play music. They have performers come out. That's what I was saying. Like, it's a nighttime little, festival kind of a thing. Okay, so, yeah, when we went into lockdown, and that brings us into this year, and then they made the announcement that you got to leave, and that's when we started this little adventure. As soon as I got the announcement, I sent a message to China. I was like, "Hey, you guys are." I don't have the camera turned around. The kids are doing hand gestures. Hello, kids just playing around. I immediately messaged China and said, the school in China that has been wanting me to come, and I kept saying, if you guys can work out the details, and if you can be sure that I can get in, and I was kind of just biding my time because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't want to travel internationally. That was the main thing. I didn't want to get on a plane or go through an airport or anything like that. I just wanted to, stay where I was at until, and I know this phrase is stupid. Sorry, I'm trying to switch my hands around. This is why that digi would be great. Ooh, my hand is frozen from the slushes. So, yeah, I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to stay in place. I was like, as long as I can stay here in Hanoi, that's where I'm going to be. As soon as I said leave, I sent him a message and said, so how quickly can you get me to China?
Right.
We started the paperwork process then immediately. And it's been 3 months and nothing yet.
But some progress has been made.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't say nothing. I mean, it's not finished yet. Yeah, some progress has been made. I'm like, get it done. But it's all been the U.S. side up until a week ago. 1 week ago, the State Department returned the paperwork that we need. And now it's at the Chinese embassy. So I'm just hoping that honestly, they weren't slow on it before. I've done this once before, gotten the work visa once before from the United States. And I guess I've done it twice before, actually. And the thing that took a long time before it was in China. After they got the paperwork in China, the school kept flubbing the submission. Like they weren't filling out the paperwork right, but they didn't understand why. So, and I don't understand why because I wasn't there, but it kept returning to them from the government office, and then they'd fill it out again and resubmit it. School does have a lot more experience now, so I feel like there's a good chance this could go quickly this time. But it's still in the embassy. It has to come back from the embassy, and then it will be electronically sent to China and physically sent to me. And when they get the approval from the office in China, they'll send that to me, and then I will use all that paperwork to actually get the visa from the consulate wherever I'm at. But in all of this, because I had to leave Vietnam so quickly, I really don't have much of a plan, and I'm just trying to wing it, and be somewhere and where I could get to submit this paperwork. So we went to the first adventure was that Cambodia was letting people in. We could get the let's walk across to the river.
Yeah.
We could get into. I'm saying we, and I mean me on the show. I'm alone here, but you guys are keeping me sane, so I like to imagine you're with me. Yeah, Cambodia was open. They were doing the everybody come to Cambodia. We reopened, post-pandemic, and come on in. And I was like, great, okay, I'm filing the paperwork. And I did that in Hanoi, and the ambassador, I was told at the office, at the embassy, they said the ambassador rejected it. He was like, no, I don't think people should come into Cambodia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was personal. I just think, honestly, he was probably just a cautious person. He's like, I disagree with this policy, so I'm not going to approve any. I'm imagining that. Of course, I don't know the ambassador personally. But when they rejected it, I was like, he's not wrong. It's crazy, and they shouldn't be pushing people out of the country, and they shouldn't be accepting new people in. Like none of these countries should.
Right. Everything was in disarray, and nobody could trust anybody was going to not make something else. Just spread more COVID. I mean, honestly, that's exactly what everybody was trying to prevent. Well, not everybody, but
That's right, not everybody. Do you want to go? We can't really get to where we can see those cool purple lights. I think the purple ones are too far away. There's this really cool purple light boat.
Oh, pretty! That's so pretty. I love it. Look at all that pretty stuff. See, lights at night, just gorgeous.
Isn't it? You're gonna like being in China then, especially in the bigger cities. It's like everything is lit up. They love the lights. The freaking skyscrapers are blinking. They're these giant blinking lights. But it's really pretty.
Because lights at night cover up all the ugly that you would normally see in daylight hours. Just like how snow covers up all the ugly red mud out here in the South. That's what the lights do everywhere. I mean, because look how pretty it is. I mean, it's not even filthy out there. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's not having to cover up anything gross or anything, but I mean, it just looks so pretty.
Well, it was a river. I mean, rivers are not 100% the cleanest. That guy just
right. I wouldn't go and take a dip in it or anything,
Mm-hmm. Right. But it just looks, I think it's because the lights make it so that you just see the lights and they themselves look pristine and everything else is black. So it's just color and black background.
Yeah, and all that reflection on the water too is just pretty.
I do like that, yeah.
Ooh, look over here in this little corner where you could see the water flowing, and can you see that where you can see the water flowing and you see the
lower right hand corner?
In the bottom right corner where it looks like it's glowy.
That's it.
Right? Yeah,
yep.
That's pretty. Just like this. I'm like, oh look, this is nice.
It is pretty. Let's walk over there. We can walk back down where we were before. So we're kind of caught up to where we are now. Oh, the ambassador rejected the first attempt, but the guy in the office said, "Oh, just go to Ho Chi Minh City and they'll approve it at the consulate." And I was like, "Well, that's a cheap option. Thanks a lot. I'll just fly to the other end of the country before I have to go." But I still thought I could take the bus across. So I flew down and got down there and it
Oh, right. That's important to note because when you were trying to find, because the bus would have been great because it would have been much more affordable, but buses were not going anywhere. And there was no land
right.
crossover, right? And you had to go by air. And and so you had to get a costly ticket instead to fly. And so that's where that went. Because when I looked up the buses with you, I was like, oh nope. There it looked like it might be just like with everything else during all these processes. It looks like it might be going, or it looks like something might be happening, but it's not.
Right.
And then you had to do the flight.
So I had to fly, which is a 55-minute flight, which is a ridiculous distance to have to fly. But I did, and now I'm here. I've been here for 2 months, and now I'm I've exhausted my visa extension here, and I got to leave next Tuesday is the last day of the visa, but my flight out is on Monday, and I'm going to Bangkok because they are open and accepting people, and hoping I can get on the flight.
And you have that arranged already, or you're about to? You have that arranged, right? The flight.
So I have the flight booked. Yeah, the flight is booked. The hotel is booked. The package is booked. It's just that they can reject you for any reason, and it seems so stupid that they would tell people to not come after advertising ad infinitum. Come to Thailand. We've reopened, and then they can literally, when you try to check in at the airport, they can just say, no, we don't like your paperwork. You can't get on the plane.
Right.
So I'm just hoping I can get there.
But hopefully you have your COVID test, you have, or you will have it for them. You have your proof of vaccination. Oh, that is just gorgeous right there. You have your passport. You have proof that you have some money to cross over and everything too. So you should be okay. Of course, should and will are completely different things. But yeah, hopefully they'll be like, yes, come on in.
I sure hope so. I'm going to ask you to be on call when I check in for Monday's flight. It'll be Sunday night for you.
Okay.
I don't know what you can do, but I might just need to panic.
But it is good to have someone on with you, so if you start to panic, they can think of other things or just calm you down or figure something out. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be able to miraculously speak another language and talk to the people, but I would
be like, let me talk to this woman.
Yeah, let me talk to her. And
tell her what for.
I say please help. That's pretty much all I could do was translation for please help.
Please. But it's also this is the thing where pre-pandemic, none of this was really a problem. Most of the same rules were still in place. But let's walk up and see this one. I keep feeling like I can't walk up, but I don't think there's any restriction. Cafe or something. But you could get to the airline then and say, when you're checking in, they're like, oh, well, we need to see your flight out. And you could be like, well, I was just going to leave by train. And they would be, oh, okay. Because that's a reasonable explanation.
There are reasons why they have everything, all cinched up, but there's constantly changing things. That's what makes it difficult right now, because you're in the part where they're trying to open up and have some type of commerce and travel and tourism and everything again. But they're still cautious, and now it's like you could be caught in limbo because there's one channel is the tourism and travel advisory folks, and then the rest are the governmental organization folks, and sometimes they're not collaborating, but you think they might, and then you end up over there and you're like, oh crap, they're going to send me back to where, you know what I mean? Because if you get there, that was my question. If you get there to, okay. So you fly in because they're good that you will be able to fly in because you have the flight, right?
Yeah.
Or, okay. So you can fly in, but
as long as they let me get on the flight.
Right. So there's one thing. If you get on the flight, there's that part done. And then, okay, you get there. And if they say, sure, come on in, everything's all fine then, right? But if not, then then what happens if you can't get in?
If they won't let me on the plane, then I'm kind of screwed. There's really nothing else I can do. I mean, I can whatever problem there is, maybe I could solve it, but I don't know what the problem would be, and so I can't really say what I would do. But if I have to stay here, it's not the worst. Well, it's not great, but the overstay fee here is like $10 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not terrible, but there's no cap on it. Like in Vietnam, it was much higher, but they had a cap. Once you got up to, I don't know, $1,500, that's all they're going to charge or something like that.
Right. You don't want to have to be stuck there for a month and pay $300 plus staying at the hotel that you're already staying at, and that's another $150, and then you got your food and your all this other stuff, and you still haven't gotten out. You know what I mean? So
right, yeah.
More than likely you'll be able to get there, but just in case, like the Thai government for some reason is like, oh, there's something wrong with your documentation. What could that be? Like, obviously paranoia is just basically what's setting in right now, because I don't think you have any problems with your documentation, but I would also be wary of everything at this point.
So here's some possibilities. Now that the jackass from the visa office had misled me all week, I've now purchased a departure flight upon his insistence, which was always not real, but now it's not even for the right dates. So they could look at that and go, oh yeah, you're not allowed in because you don't have a good departure flight. No good.
Okay, but that was for you to be able to get the extended visa with them, right? You can go over there without a visa with any departure flight as long as you come into the country with your COVID test and your proof of vaccination, and you pay them that Pope Mobile ride over to your hotel that you have to specifically pay for in Bangkok, right?
Right. Now I've got all of that prepaid. So
right.
that won't be a problem. I'm hoping that having all that prepaid will be a check in my favor, that they're going to be like, oh, well, he's good. He's got all this prepaid.
Right.
That's another reason why I was okay staying at the expensive $30 a night hotel, because I'm hoping they'll make them think I'm rich, and then they won't look too closely.
Right.
Because if they think you're rich, they won't really
work in your favor, for real. Because that's what they're looking at. Because what they want to know is that you're not going to bring disease there, and that you're not going to be a burden, and that you have money. That's literally all they care about.
Yeah, that's true.
So as long as you have proof of that, I think you should be okay, no matter what. Because flights do change no matter what you can do about it. So you could have had a different flight arranged at any point, but no matter what, you're getting in there. You see what I mean? But you still have all the documents you need. Right? Isn't that like, because previously it had to be a certain time it was arranged, but that was to get the extended visa that the dude drug out for no reason, being a butthole. You know what I mean? Haha, you're not actually getting that.
That flight was, but you still have to have a flight that matches your travel dates, and that one doesn't match anymore because I was trying to get the extended visa, and I didn't get it.
So your travel dates right now are showing for 2 months, but really you're only going to be there for a month. Is that what you're saying? And then that's
right. So yeah, the travel dates are for 2 months, but when I get in, they're going to say, well, you're only allowed to stay a month, so this departure flight is not valid.
You mean, and that's what you're thinking could prevent you from getting on the plane to get there?
That's right.
Okay. So we'll know on Monday, won't we? But if that does that, so then that would just screw you out of your flight money. So we could fix that, because we could just fix the departure date and the flight that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, potentially, yeah.
But yeah, that's the backup for that one. And the backup for when you're trying to get in, I don't think there's going to be a problem for you to get in, because you do have all the documents. And but you're just going to only be able to be there for a month because Doofus messed up your whole process there and didn't even try and streamline anything because it sucks.
No, he was a real jackass. I didn't even tell you because I was thinking I'd have to deal with him again today. But when I realized I couldn't even give them I can't give them my passport right now if they can't guarantee they'll give it back, because then I can't get on the plane at all. So it just dawned on me, I can't even try for the extended visa now. So I didn't mention before, but he was a total dick. He was like, well, it's not our job to match your schedule. And I was like, my schedule? I came in here a week early.
Right.
Face.
What the hell was he talking about? He's the one that was dragging ass. And obviously, if he can, if that asshole can have that level of snark, then he knew exactly what the hell you were saying and what you needed. And he was just being a dick.
Exactly. Yes. So when I came in on Monday, I walked up, he's in the visa office. The only thing they do is issue visas. The only reason you walk in that door is to get a visa. And I walked up and I had to explain to him that I was trying to get a visa. And then he went on to talk about the, website thing, which I did need to do. But then I asked him, I was like, oh, and that's how I get the visa? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. And then when I went back the next day, I had to ask him 3 or 4 times about the visa. And finally he was like, oh, well, if you want a visa, you got to fill out this form. I was like, I've been saying visa for 2 days, asshole. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What an ass.
So I sit there and filled out the whole form. And then he's like, it takes 3 working days. And I was like, okay, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I should be able to get it back Friday. He's like, yep. He let me fill out the whole form. He let me pay for photos. So I paid $2. It's not like I'm broke, but I paid $2 for the photos you're supposed to submit. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, I can't accept them today. You'll have to come back tomorrow. Oh, wait, tomorrow's a holiday. You'll have to come back Thursday. And I was like, well, can I get the visa back if I submit it on Thursday? And that's when he goes, I said, it seems like that would come back on Monday, and my flight is Monday, which I told you yesterday. And that's when he goes, well, your schedule isn't our responsibility, or whatever he said.
Yeah, okay, but you had already tried to get help from his ass a week prior. Oh, I hate him. Yeah, he's just an ass. Yeah. He's government hell. That's all he was. It's just government hell. Because got a lot of that over here, so guess he was just feeling like being a turd.
Yeah, somebody rubbed him the wrong way that day. That's I don't know what caused it, but the guy in front of me was kind of the foreigner that he was dealing with in front of me was kind of a dick and condescending, and not a really great experience for that guy. And the foreigner was talking to me the whole time like we were best friends, and I was just talking back. I wasn't.
Oh, you know what? That the foreign asshole got that guy thinking that you were like in league with him somehow, and he's like, "Oh,
right, like we're pals," and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to help that guy." That's what I think happened. I was thinking about it later, and I was like, "Well, that's still not a good reason to be a dick," but yeah, that probably is what happened. Sorry, I'm making these sound for the special effects for the show. All right, so we're almost to the conclusion here because we're really just trying to get up to the point where, assuming I get into Thailand, this is actually the point where I have to ask you what you think, and I would say, and the viewers too. But this is all going to be done by the time anybody sees this. So you'll just have to check and see what happened. Your opinion probably won't matter for this viewer. Sorry, because this is all going down next week.
And
that's true. They'll watch it.
They'll say, "Hey, yeah." So like you were talking about, should you just stay in Bangkok that one night one night in Bangkok, then you go to Macau. So, right, then you go from there. I think that's a good idea to just go ahead and leave from there after you stay for that one required night, because
Mhm.
it's going to be a lot cheaper to go to one of those places that we found on the outskirts, closer to the
Right.
Malaysian border, because after that, you want to cross over into Malaysia.
Yeah, we're limited to 1 month, and 1 month in Thailand. And well, anyway, so we are limited to 1 month in Thailand because of this guy. But maybe that's just as well anyway, because Thailand's a very touristy place, and it's kind of pricey compared to here. And I don't know what Malaysia is. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, within a month we got to go anyway. So my thought is to get on a train and just go to the border town, and it looks like a lovely town, and it'll be an interesting place to see. I'm sure there'll be Watts and all sorts of things, and it's big enough that there will be some sights there for the show. So that's good. But so I'm going to get on down to what was the name of it? I'm sure it's not pronounced hat, but Hat Yai.
Yeah.
Hot Yai is, which sounds a lot like hot guy, I guess. You can tell that I misheard.
I found a pronunciation site for it, so let's see what it says.
Oh.
Let's see.
All right.
Hat Yai.
Yep, Hat Yai. There.
Hat Yai. Okay.
Hat
All right.
Yai.
There you go. Hat Yai. And that's kind of like near where Georgetown was, which was near the Malaysian border, right?
Yeah.
That's
correct. So I'm going to flip the camera.
And you found a couple of good deal places that
There's
are
no
not
light.
hostels and not sharing a bathroom with people during a deadly
Yeah.
pandemic.
Right. See, I could stay in this place about the same price as I could stay in Bangkok. But in Bangkok, I'd be in a bed in a hostel, sharing a bathroom and air with everyone.
Right.
And this place, you get a room to yourself. So I've made my decision.
Yeah. It was either going to be a bunk bed in Bangkok or you have your own room in Hat Yai. That's it. Hat Yai. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry.
And then we'll look and see what we can find for affordable stuff and neat things to do in Malaysia. And also, while you're in Thailand, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we found that you can do. So that'll be neat.
There is?
In Thailand?
Oh, you mean
like
the oysters?
Do what?
You mean the oysters?
The world's your oyster. Yes. And by that, I mean, like, watch some, Muay Thai boxing. And
yeah.
There was an elephant reserve thing. You can feed them bananas. No. And,
well, it has to be close to Hat Yai. I'm staying there the whole time, right? Is that our plan?
Yes. But there should be something there. So I'll find things.
I'm sure there is. Like Muay Thai. There will be Muay Thai there because it's popular all over the country.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be good. And also, I'm sure there'll also be plenty of Watts. I mean, it's a religious country, so there will be temples there. There may not be the famous temples, but it'll kind of be cool to see a town in Thailand that most people don't see. And it looks like it's big enough there's stuff there. It looks nice, too.
And there's a lot of temples, and like, I don't know if anyone has watched the other episode, but like you were talking about, Wat means temple. So that's why, like, when it was Angkor Wat, it was, Angkor was a city, but Wat, it's a temple that was there, and there's tons of Wats all over Thailand.
Right. Yep. That's true. So that'll be 1 month. And honestly, I think that month is going to go by very quickly. But in the meantime, and during all of this, we are waiting for China to send this paperwork. So when they finally do, I mean, it's possible the electronic paperwork could come through tomorrow, and they could say, "What's the address?" And we'll give them that hotel in Hat Thai. And is that right?
Hat Yai.
Yeah. And then the paperwork can be sent directly there. And if they will spring for sending it overnight, I'm going to tell her too. But, like I just had something shipped regular mail, and it took over 2 months.
Right.
So you better have this. You better spring for the quick version, even if it takes a couple $100, because otherwise, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do.
I mean, is there anything
I think she will.
digitally, or do you have to have something where it's mailed to you?
Yeah, I have to have the physical paperwork to submit for the visa. They don't need the physical paperwork, so it doesn't have to go through China and the other. They're going to send it directly from the United States to here. But every attempt we have made to have something shipped in the past, well, since the beginning of this year, even the $100 shipping fee that my sister paid, the shit didn't get there. Weeks went by and the shit didn't get there. Right. They can't seem to pull it off at this point. So I'm going to tell her, you better make sure you get whatever the best shipping is. I'm just hoping that the office in the U.S. has some brains about this and knows what shipping company to use. I'm going to assume DHL is better, but
right.
They know what shipping company. Huh?
DHL is how I get everything here, from China. So you would think that that's what they would use. I mean, it's the only thing I've ever gotten anything through.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, and I don't ship a lot of stuff, so I'm kind of just going from my impressions and the few times I've heard people use them, but they're the best shipping company. They're kind of the only ones that can do it without screwing up constantly. FedEx and UPS are fine inside the U.S., but you don't want to use them if you're shipping it international. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, DHL is a German company, so of course they're getting it right. It's the Germans. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, DHL actually started in San Francisco and then was bought by, I think, the German Postal Service. And as far as I'm aware, they are the best shipping company. Once you leave the U.S., they're the only ones that are everywhere. Mm-hmm. Every company I've ever been to, that is a stack of restaurants and bars.
Wow. Whoa.
They're all empty right now. Normally full of tourists. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully they'll send that stuff over. Oh, but I was going to say, I'm imagining that will coincide somewhere around when I have to leave Thailand, hoping that it does. And then I cross over, and the great thing about Malaysia, if only we were adjacent to Malaysia right now, we would have this trouble with Thailand. The Thai-Malaysia land border is open. Again, this is an announcement, and it was a news announcement, and it said people are already using it, so I'm hoping that's correct. But yeah, so that border is open, and also Malaysia's pretty clear about their policies on entering, and they had a fairly simple and easy to follow policy on getting in right now, and Americans can get in and stay for 3 months there with no visa.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. So worst things worse, if you had to wait for that long for anything for Chinese to go through, the going through Thailand, that's a good intermediary before you get over there to Malaysia. But being in Malaysia for up to 3 months gives them plenty of time to be able to send you through proper channels any kind of paperwork you need.
Yeah. And Malaysia doesn't speak English as a first language. Hello. Little girl. They don't speak English as a first language, but everybody I've ever met from Malaysia speaks perfect English. So I'm wondering if, they got to have some teachers there somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Santana's friend that's moving over here, I think their whole family speaks English. And I mean, well, you know what? they're from a wealthy family, so they were definitely taught, do something.
Yeah. Well, Georgetown seems like it would be a fairly wealthy city.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, maybe I can pick up a few classes there, and I'll pursue online stuff. And I really should have been pursuing online more here than trying to find schools, because when I finally found the schools, there's the school situation here wasn't great. There are schools, they don't pay a lot. I did get some interest, but they were looking for long-term teachers, and a lot of this I understand, but I feel like it's a situation where they have a lot more interest from foreigners to come teach here than I expect.
Right. And also, look, because from the whole ordeal when the pandemic started, everything was in disarray to begin with. So there was not going to be any teaching for a good long while. And then after the fact, when you can only stay for so long in these places, it's not long enough to establish yourself to be able to get a job there anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you're in Malaysia and you're there for a few months, possibly, then that's the place to look, because, I don't know what, I just know that it's hard to find a job here. So obviously, you did pretty damn good as an expat, being over anywhere, getting jobs everywhere over there, and having people even consider you at all. You know what I mean? So
right, yeah.
It's been during a pandemic. Like, I cannot stress it enough. All of this is during a freaking plague, and
right,
you figured it well, and you've gotten through every obstacle, and then you just on to the next one. But like now, if it seems like, obviously I would look for stuff in Malaysia while in Thailand, rather than
that's a good idea.
Get
a head start on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way I'm going to be in Thailand long enough to actually find something.
Right.
The thing is, in order to really find a job, you've got to make connections first, meet people, make friends. And I got that far in Cambodia, but a couple of weeks ago, I had a couple of friends looking for places for me to work, and they're like, yeah, sure, I'll keep my eye out. But I'm like, what's that going to do in 2 weeks? You don't see a job pop up every day. It's just that occasionally they do.
Right.
The reason it's easy to find work in China, or was easy when I was there, is because, I lived there. It's not like within any 3-day period, I was getting 15 job offers. It's just that over the course of a year, working out a contract, you get a lot of offers from people you meet.
And because you already had connections and they recognize the other schools and the things that you've done there, then obviously they would invest in you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's always making connections. Just like the guy that wanted to hire me for the place on the other side of the country. He was probably totally a trustworthy person, but I couldn't trust him because I didn't know him. Right. I hadn't met him through anybody I know.
Because you can't risk losing your passport and $500,
Right. Either one. I mean, the passport's really more, but the $500 either. I can't afford to just hand $500 just off to some guy on a bike.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to ride away, and then I go, well, hope that works out. And I think 90% chance it would have. The problem is I can't take a 10% chance on losing a passport and most of the money that I've got. Not most, but a lot of the money that I've got. It didn't seem wise. And I feel like, and I guess kind of like what was the impetus behind doing this whole episode, I feel like I want my father and sister to understand that, because they've been helping me out quite a bit, and I appreciate all the help they've given. But this is not, easy. And you when you realize you're about to hand your passport and cash off to some dude on a bike, even though I told him that's what I told my dad I was going to, go after that job, and that's why he gave me the money, I was like, yeah, I can't do that. That's not smart. I don't think if he understood that he would want me to hand it off. Right. They don't really know what's going on.
You told him, hey, it's going to be some guy I don't know. He's on a bike, and he's going to have my only means of identification and movement through countries or through this country. Yeah, he'd be like, no, don't do that.
Right. Yeah, I think if he understood, he would not. But because they're not really paying attention to what's going on, they just hear, he said he was going to do it, and then he didn't do it. And I feel like, well, now they're making it sound like, or it kind of sounds like I'm a liar that I just made it up, but I didn't. It seemed great right up into the point where he said, because I told him, I was like, okay, let's do it. I said, how do I get the visa? And then he described what was going to happen. Like, he said he owned a travel agency, and then he's like, but there's no travel agency in this scenario. You're just sending a guy over.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know you, and I don't know the guy that introduced me to you, because it was just some dude on Facebook. And now you're telling me the way to handle this is not for me to come to his school. I would feel like it was less of a scam if I went to his school first and then said, and then, he's like, okay, I'll put you up here and just give me the paperwork, and we'll go from here, which is kind of the way it usually happens in China.
Right, but it was a different time then, and different because you also already lived there for an extended period of time. So you couldn't afford to just go, hey, oh, well, because it sounded great at first. And also it's not like it was not desperation, but it was urgency that you got something. So when you told your dad, hey, this is what's happening right now, that was the deal then, that you right. thought, okay, this guy is going to, be able to employ me and everything will be fine. And then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, a guy on a messenger bike guy is going to come and take your stuff. And then,
right.
then you got to go over here and you're going to make just enough to get by on. So, and that's only if we don't bamboozle you and take all your stuff. And another thing is, though, there's no way that you would be able to find some kind of a little low-level job around there, because they don't hire expats for things like that in these places. The reason that you're in these other
right.
countries is because they hire you to be an English or some other subject teacher, but usually English teacher. And so that's where that's how you're a commodity there. It's not for you to work a retail job. It's for you to do
right.
exactly what you need to do. And also, anybody listening, because my sister has mentioned this, why doesn't he just come back to the States? And I'm like, because it is extremely costly to be poor in the United States versus poor elsewhere. Okay. Especially poor in Asia. Okay. And what I mean by that is that over here, if you were even able to get back here, there's nothing set up for you to prosper more so than you getting, because you already have a prospect in China and you already have an established presence there. You just need to get back there. And the only reason you're not there is because of the pandemic. So, but right. over here, if you were to come here, there's no, at least to the places where you can be, over here in the South with all of us, regardless of whether it was where your dad, your sister is, or where we are over here in Georgia, there's no transit. You don't have a car. You don't have a bank account here. You would have to switch that because that's from Utah. There's not a job yet. And if you were to have a job here, how do you get to it? Do you see what I'm saying? So like people don't get that when you're where you're at there, it let's say it's like a few hundred, maybe let's say it's 500 a month there. A 500 a month living expense going to Malaysia, for instance, it turns into, in Georgia, it would be 1,500 to 2,000 a month. So it costs more to have less here even. So it's ridiculous. You can't come back here unless you had some kind of solid something, and you've looked. And there's not something solid here. The job outlook, where people think that there are more jobs here, they're low-level jobs, and not knocking people that have to take those jobs, but usually those people have someone else working with them, and or like a spouse, or they live with a lot of roommates, and they all pool their money, and it's a struggle. And you're almost there. You're just almost there. Just a few more months and you're back to where you need to be in China and where you want to be. You know what I mean? Where it's safe and secure, and you have a job waiting for you. So if everybody can just bear with you until you get to China, everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not the job in the world, but it is, to me, it's the best job I've ever had. So it's more money than anything I've done in the US, and I don't mean like adjusted for inflation or something like that. I mean, purchasing power parity or whatever. No, I just mean like in raw numbers, and the actual amount that I'm making was more than I ever made in the US, and more than I could hope to make now. I forget that the
And for
hourly came out
living
too because it's
expenses
a
there, the
salary
living
job, but it's
expenses
which is
Do what?
zero. It's $3,500 a month, and the apartment is paid for.
That's a
Well, not zero.
huge deal.
No, I mean,
Well,
actually, yeah. And you were talking about how the place that Jacob works pays for his some meals or all meals or something.
oh yeah, he'll figure out a way to.
I mean, that's standard. If you're working in a school, they have someone cook at least one meal every day. Well, it's an evening school. It's at the after school program schools. So like the kids in China will leave regular school and then come to this place for the rest of the night. But before the kids get there, all the teachers arrive and somebody has cooked a big, huge meal every day. Never mind the fact that food is pretty cheap there anyway, and transportation is cheap. When I lived in Chenzhou, you could get a cab across town for $1. What else? The phone, but thing where they don't have money on it, but it comes out for very cheap. I think I put $75 on one time, and it went the rest of the year. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, that is kind of the point. It's like that is so much better a situation than what I could hope to find in the U.S. But I never said I'm not going back to the U.S. I just always, when somebody would suggest, well, maybe it's time to come back to the United States, I would always say, okay, then like you have to. That's a direction to point in, but what is the plan? Like I don't see a good job there. My dad was telling me there's a zillion jobs. There's so many jobs. Your people are shitting jobs right and left, and
no,
I was like,
that is what those jobs are that people keep talking about. Certain entities and in certain whatever type of news channels and everything. Here's the deal. They're like there are lots of crappy jobs that people will take because they have to, but they are not a living wage.
Right, yeah.
Country. Okay.
Well,
so yeah, you could come here and work at Burger King. You could come and work at the Circle K, Wesley, but guess what? It only pays about $9 an hour, and that's tops. Sometimes only $7.25 because we're still over here in corn pone country. So, it's not livable, it's not sustainable, and why would you can't come back and like unless somebody is giving you a room, like you could like sleep on someone's couch and then somehow figure out how to get on over to a job that is definitely not going to be in the same area where you live because it's just not that way. And if it is, it's going to be a low paying job. So it's just it's not doable. You can't do it. And what people are seeing is that, yeah, there are plenty of jobs that are open right now. And those jobs are literally just retail or service jobs, like some type of a wait staff and things like that, because people started being treated crappy, or continue to be treated crappy. They were like, oh, guess what? I'm not going to risk my life to work for you for $7 to $10 an hour when I should be paid more. I should be compensated more for my time and the danger in which I'm in anyway. And then they left. And corporations and different businesses are like, wow, I can't believe I can't continue to treat people like crap. And they won't work for me. Why aren't they working for me anymore? Because they didn't change that here. And so this whole thing about there's so many jobs, the job that you need that would be comparable to what you would earn in China, it's just there are people, there would be thousands of people applying for that one job that you're trying to get. It's not like you're trying to get a job working the front desk at a hotel. You know what I mean? And that will not pay your bills either. Not here. And the minimum wage absolutely does not pay for the living expenses here. I mean, you know that when you lived in Atlanta, your apartment was one bedroom. It was like $1,000, $1,200.
Can't get the math over the damn microphone.
The what?
I will be back. Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I didn't know what happened.
Okay.
What was happening?
I stupidly tried to put my mask on while I was walking. Of course, I had to hold the camera because I only had one free hand, and I couldn't get the mask over the mic, and I kept wrestling with it, and I'm sure it made a lot of mic noise. I apologize about that, but finally I just said I gotta sit down and untangle this.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
So,
I was just going
but
off about low-level jobs and how you would not. There are probably jobs that they think that maybe they've heard some news station say, yeah, there's jobs and blah blah blah. There's not a worker shortage. There's a workers aren't going to take your shit anymore thing going on, and people aren't going to be treated like crap anymore in service industry jobs and not be paid.
I hope that's a permanent shift.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping. I hope that that's one of the good things that came from this pandemic.
I hope. Yeah, I don't. I try not to be so Pollyanna that I'm like, well, the good thing about the pandemic is, but this is something you think about. It's like, well, at least it shifted the balance sort of towards the worker, and if people are able to quit jobs and go, if I'm not working for you anymore, you dickhole.
I mean, it came down to
then
people like, okay,
that's
let's
great.
say there's a lady at the grocery store.
If it took employers.
Are you there?
What?
Are you there?
There's a lady at the grocery store.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Can you not hear me?
No, it cut out. It started doing a little glitchy on my end.
Can you not hear me?
Okay.
Did I mess up the mic?
Oh no. It was my internet. I think I did something, but it's good. It's good. I see you now. Okay. So let's say you've been working at the grocery store and you've tolerated people, and you're $10 an hour. Let's say you're working at the Publix and you're making $10 an hour, and that's one of the better grocery stores around here. So that's probably the upper echelon of working the cash register at the Publix, and you've tolerated people and you're making this money, and you probably either, if you're not married or on some other level of assistance whilst being married or not, and or have a roommate, that's what you have to do to make it work with that $10 an hour. And then the pandemic hits and people want to breathe in your face and put your life at risk and then complain to you about not being able to spit their filth in your freaking face. So yeah, Miss Beverly, who works at the Publix, is going to be like, nah, I quit. I fucking quit. And I'm going to go and I'm going to find a telecommunications type job, and I'm going to work for you, asshole, because that's the shift right now. And then, but even those jobs right now, few and far between, because so many people already filled them, because so many people needed them. So you can't even get that here. But you see what I'm saying? That is the shift. You're going to find a way to protect me, Publix. And so Publix said, we're going to require masking in here. We're going to protect our employees because that's our bottom line. So if you eat into our money, that's it wasn't always about protecting people, but it was definitely about but they knew it would protect them, but it protects their money and their income. Money. You get what I mean? Because Jacob's work, it's a biomedical place. Okay. Everyone's masked. It's HEPA filters, sanitizing round the clock. Yes, sure, we care about our workers, but yes, also our product is literally a biomedical product, and if it is damaged, we lose millions. You know what I mean? So luckily for him, he's in a position to where he's been safe. That's not the case for people that were working production, like at the Tyson chicken factory over here, where the managers were making bets on who would die first.
That's right.
So, that's why those people also said, screw you, Tyson, I'm going to quit. You're an asshole. And there you go. So yeah, there's not some plethora of jobs, but they're all shitty. And my question to anyone who's telling you to come back here and
Did
get
they
a
have
job.
them? Did they have a mass walkout? Did people quit?
Oh, no. Just some people overheard them, and those people were whistleblowers. And then some people did
Well,
leave.
I heard those stories. You know, I guess it's like a year ago now. I don't.
Uh-oh.
Well, I didn't.
Uh-oh, you're cutting out. Hello.
I would too.
Whoa. Are you there?
Whoa.
Yeah, it just did a whole thing where you were stalled for
I'm
a minute and then
here.
everything was coming together. Let me see. Okay, are you there?
Thought you might want to see the lights.
Pretty.
That's a cute little bar. Look at that. Well, oh, you're still not getting a good connection, are you?
No. Hold on. Let me see if I can change it. I don't know if I can do it without losing a connection, though. I don't even know. Look, I am stationary in my home, and this should be coming in just fine.
I'm going to walk back over towards the front and maybe that signal. Channel. What happened? I got a. It's buffering, I see. I'm not too far from the gas, so and I lost it. Things. So we've dropped Erica. Like I said, I rode away from I got back towards it. It was on waterfront. Yes, one area. It's not sweat. The water. Although we're the other area, they have signal. Maybe anyway, we had pretty much. Here we go again. Yuri might be trying to come on to stream.
Okay, I'm back.
Sorry. I tried over there. Strange. We'll have to respond to him later. Erica.
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you, Erica. I don't hear you, actually. It could be here. Like I said, I just walked away from the. I was walking along the waterfront, so maybe that's not covered as well for Wi-Fi. I mean, for 4G. But anyway, to the people watching, I'm gonna keep walking towards, but I don't think don't know if we're going to get reconnected. I wanted to say we pretty much ran through the whole thing. So this was just a thing to catch everyone up on where I've been over the past 7 years, but mostly over the past 2 years, and especially the past 3 months since Vietnam ended its program. I've been trying to get back into China, and I do hear. So I cannot hear you though, Erica. I actually hear I hear things, but I don't hear your voice. Are you saying words?
You can hear me doing things, or can you hear me now? Okay, good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear like little scratchy noises or something moving or something. And I was like, it's weird that I can hear that, but I can't hear her.
Yeah, I was cleaning up while I was like waiting on my thing to buffer. Now everything looks normal again. For a minute there, it was really choppy, and it did this sluggish thing with you where I didn't see anything, and it was really choppy, and then it sped up everything that you said all at once. It was like, and then it cut me off, and I had to rejoin the stream.
Well, that's weird.
On the waterfront.
I think it's because I was on the waterfront. I do, because as soon as I got back over to these hotels and buildings and things, it seemed to clear up.
Yep.
So cool. This is a place we can't film, but I can show you the outside of it. I'm not sure you can tell how impressive it is yet, because we're actually a good distance, but in person it's very impressive. Now, you'll see it as we get closer.
Yes.
But I do think we covered everything. I mean, we got right up to now, and I mean, I think the only thing left on the explanation of why I'm not going back to the United States is because there's no clear plan for that. I've been waiting for some of the people who think it's a good idea to tell me, what is the plan? Where will I work? Where will I stay? Where will I, you and Scott have actually provided more suggestions in that range than the people who think I should come back. And you guys are pretty much both on the same page as me, which is, why would you come back? Especially, why would you come back right now?
Right. It would be incredibly it would be difficult at best, and it would be like total struggle bus. Okay, you can't. It's just
exactly. I mean, I don't see how it's going to be. First off, I checked flights the other day when I was asking my dad for that money so that I could stay here, and it was $1,000 more just for the flight. That does not include one night of accommodations in the U.S. That does not include any food. Just the flight was $2,500.
Yep, just to get back here. To get back here to struggle and have nothing. Yep.
Right. Yeah, and I'm like, I know it's not easy because I'm the one having to do it, but this is not my preferred thing to happen, but it is a global pandemic, and if we can just keep things in perspective, things could be a lot worse.
Well, the thing is that people here, we're all secure, and not really that as secure as we think we are. But you see what I'm saying? So if people look at it from their perspective, of course, it seems like it would be great for you to be here because they don't know that it's better where you've been. They don't know that it's better in terms of safety or security, or definitely with money, because even though it's costing for you to go in between all these places, every trip that you've done over the past, at least the whole pandemic, basically it would cost that just to get here and stay here for 2 months.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's no comparison. You have to stay in Asia, somewhere over there, until you get back to China specifically, because you have a job waiting for you there. And not just some little crappy job. It's a good job. It's secure, and everything will be fine once all of the paperwork is done.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I got to be honest. One of the things that's always in the back of my head, and maybe this is silly and it's not something that would happen, but given the past, I didn't think this way when this whole thing started. Like, I honestly thought I'll go back to the United States because first world country is going to really whoop this thing, and wealth and power, and they're certainly not going to let it go out of control and get crazy. I really thought that, but now looking back on what has happened, and you know what could happen in the future. I don't want to go back because I can imagine a scenario where a country like China closes off its borders to the United States. Maybe not just the United States, but that like the next wave just gets so out of control that China says, yeah, that you can't come in if you've been to that country in the last 60 days or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I can see that happening. I don't know if that will happen, but it's a fear. And so I'm like, I don't want to put myself into a situation where I can't leave the U.S.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to get stuck and then not have anything too.
Right.
Uh-oh. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Are you seeing all this lighting?
Oh, let me see.
Oh, you're not looking.
Oh, I was instructing Jacob on what to do in his appointment that's in 1 minute.
You could go if you want. I'll just show the lights and sign off.
Oh no, I'm just making sure that he gets what he needs out of this appointment with this advisor, because it's ridiculous that it takes so much to just get a change of major. Okay, this is pretty. It looks like, look, everything there's like festival of lights here times a million, and then all day every day.
Well, no, this is actually a holiday. The Khmer New Year is coming up. I just missed it. It'll be the day after I leave. It starts. So this is their New Year holiday celebration.
That is so cute that they're just like, here's some random stuff. Here's a pineapple and some palm trees, and like, this is our stuff. No, but I mean, seriously, I just know that even without the celebration, that they still have a bunch of bright stuff out there, and it's decorated and flashy.
Well, that's true. This particular stuff is for the New Year, but the thing across the street is a big old casino, and so it is lit up all the time. Naga World. Oh, I feel like I lost you. If you're still giving instruction, that's cool.
I'm just typing. No, keep talking.
So, well, no, I was just going to say the reason I was afraid that I lost you is because I was just going to say, that's it. I think we're ready to sign off. We took a nice tour and we ate some barbecue and we accomplished our goal of explaining to anyone interested, any potential viewer who says, what are these people doing? What is this guy doing in Southeast Asia? I feel like you might mistakenly tune in and think you were watching a rich person on a tour of Southeast Asia. I am desperately hopping from one place to another while I wait on my Chinese paperwork to come through. And as soon as I do, man, I'm there. And then the show is going to be from China, and we're going to have a great time. And what we'll end up doing is just I'll be working a regular job, so I'll be tethered then. But we're not going to change the name of the show. And we'll be going out weekends and doing some travel every weekend to show some great sights and things in China. I think you can't film inside the casino, so this is where we end. Yeah, so that's it, and maybe I'll flip the camera around so I can say goodbye to the audience. I was just so fascinated. I like filming the lights. So I'm glad both you and Scott are big lights people. I always see them like, wee, and they show up so well on camera if you do the lights at night. So I like that, and there'll be plenty of that in China too. So anyway, if you made it this far, if you watched and found out a little about the show and me and what's going on here, and hopefully that gives some context to what our episodes are and what's going on, and I am really here just biding time till that paperwork comes through, so that's why we're out doing our tourist sites, and making the best we can of it until we can get back into China. But if you made it this far into this video, I think it's time to hit that like button, subscribe if you'll want to see more. And what else should they do? Share it with friends. Enjoy the next video and check out our Patreon. I did what you suggest. I think you suggested it last time. We put the Patreon link in every description, and it's also at the top of the YouTube page. Any help you can offer to the channel will progress us along. We really want to be able to keep making these and improving them as we go. Because there's a lot of little things we could add to improve it and make our future episodes better. But until then, enjoy the next video. Thanks for watching. And I didn't time that well, but I was going to hit the outro. Thanks anyway, though.
Jag är Peter och man kommer då se personer som tar över. Jag är med sig själv här i klubben. Men jag kan ändå vara lite nog bättre. 4. Den är nu. Jag kan hålla det 15. Personer som tar över. Jag är med sig själv här i klubben. Men jag kan ändå vara lite nog bättre. 4. Den är nu. Jag kan hålla det 15. Ja,